Prosper, hey, 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 prosper, hey, prosper. We need to do better for our sons and our daughters. Spock said it best, live long, prosper.
Welcome back to the LLP podcast, Live Long and Prosper. I am your host, Bernard J. Rackley, and I just want to thank y'all for tapping in. Man, this is a beautiful day, beautiful day. We got a wonderful, wonderful guest. Her name is Katie Draznin, and Katie has been called the Courage Curator, inspiring audiences and readers with her message of breakthrough and becoming unstoppable. She is the #1 best-selling author of the book, Tell Fear You're the Boss, How to Push Through Fear and Be in Control of Living Your Dream Life. Oh, I love that. At 26, Katie quit her corporate job, packed up her life, and moved across the country to launch a successful nonprofit. And after 15 years of being in a nonprofit and leadership space, she left it all again to travel the world full-time, living in 14 countries on 4 different continents. And it was while traveling that Katie discovered her passion for writing, more importantly, her passion for helping others find their greatness. And Katie connects with her audiences where they are, inspires them to grow higher, and challenges them to step into their greatness. She has been featured in the likes of the Chicago Tribune and the Daily Herald, and is the host of the popular Facebook Live series, Katie's Courage Couch. So please help me welcome Miss Katie Draznin. Thank you, man. Thank you for being on the show today, Miss Katie.
Thanks for having me.
That's a lot of accolades already, man. That bio is bananas, man. So 14 different countries.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah,
wow.
I've actually been to over 30, but on that particular jaunt, it was 14.
Wow. So you're a well-traveled young lady there.
I am. I
Yeah.
am.
So
I
so
love to travel.
what has been your favorite country thus far besides the United States?
That's such a hard question. Like, I love every country for a different reason, but my answer to this question kind of surprises a lot of people. But my favorite country that I've ever been to, I've been 3 times, is Haiti.
Mm,
The culture, the people, there's just something about Haiti. They say that um, there's something called the Haiti bug, and a lot of people, when you land in Haiti, the moment you get off the plane, you feel this instant connection, and
mm.
your heart will always be tethered to Haiti. And I felt it the moment I stepped off the plane onto the tarmac, because it's one of those airports that's so tiny that you exit the plane on the tarmac and not into the airport. But
Wow.
the moment I stepped out, I felt like I was meant to be there and that I belonged there. And I've been 3 times, and it's my favorite.
Wow. So what made you go down to Haiti? Was that just like a vacation, or did you go down and kind of like help after the earthquakes and all that kind of stuff?
So the first time I went was before the earthquake. I went on a study abroad trip with my college, and I fell in love. I was there for a week. And then the second time I went for 2 weeks. And then the third time I went for three. And so I just kept expanding my trip. But I went to work at an orphanage that works with
Mm.
individuals with developmental and physical disabilities. And
Wow.
so Wings of Hope has a special place in my heart. I even have a tattoo on my arm of a butterfly, and it says Espoir, which is hope in Haitian Creole.
Mm.
And it's in honor of all of the little lives that, because the medical system is different there. And so every time I went back, they had lost individuals at this orphanage. And so I just have it tattooed on my body to remember all of those little personalities and souls that I have had a pleasure of connecting with during my
Wow.
time there.
Well, shout out to Wings of Hope. That's amazing. That's an amazing journey right
Yeah.
there. Wow, Haiti,
Hmm.
huh? Haiti of all places. I never heard anyone say Haiti was their favorite spot to visit, but wow, that's
I
amazing.
know.
I've heard some great things, especially after the earthquake. One of my friends, she went down there to go with with like the Peace Corps, and she
Hmm.
said she loved it as well. She said the people were just amazing. The
Yeah.
environment was just was a very amazing environment, and I know she said she really loved it as well.
Yeah, it's an incredible country. Yeah, the people, they have nothing, but they would give you everything.
Mm,
And I think when you look at pictures after the hurricane, what was that? 2016, there was a major hurricane there, and like people were carrying each other across these like flooded streets because
Mm.
they were supporting each other. And you don't see that like here in the US. Like people are like I mean, we're in the middle of a pandemic and people are like, I'm not wearing a mask because I don't want to, instead of, oh, I'm going to wear a mask because I'm taking care of other people and I'm protecting myself and other people. And it's just a different mentality and culture, and it's beautiful and amazing, and I cannot wait to go back.
Nice, nice. Isn't it bordered with the Dominican Republic?
Yeah, they share an island, the island of Hispaniola.
Okay. Oh yeah, yeah. I've heard some they have some drama with the Dominicans. I heard that's pretty kind of crazy down there.
They do. Yeah. Yeah. Haiti's in a state of unrest right now. There's a lot happening in the country. There's revolution happening everywhere. So it's not the safest place to be right now. And so a lot of Haitians have sought refugee status in the Dominican Republic.
Mm.
And I believe it was last year, the DR was like, no more. And they were starting to like kick Haitians out of the DR. And
Wow.
so it's created like this a lot of drama and danger and unrest for a lot of Haitian people.
Mm. Well, let's pray for Haiti, man. I know I mean, they got some good people down there. I know that was like one of
Yeah.
the biggest revolutions for Africans in general. I know that was one of their big revolutions, man. So I pray for that island, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy things
It
going
was
down there.
the first free Black state in the world.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've saw the movie, and I was like, man, it's a crazy story, man. That's a crazy
Mhm.
story, but a great revolution. I pray for those people down there. Hope they get better soon.
Yeah, me too. Me too. 'Cause I can't wait to go back.
So tell your fear you're the boss. How'd you come up with that name for
Yeah.
your book?
So I had a few titles go back and forth. I was writing it while I was working with a mentor of mine. Her name is Lisa Chastain. And the first title that came to mind was Tell Fear to Fuck Off. And when we talked about it, because she has a book that has the word shit in the title, and she lost a lot of, um, not a lot of credibility, but she lost some credibility from certain demographics because of like the use of a swear word. And so we just said, like, she had said, tell fear the boss. And I was like, that's it.
Oh
That's the
yeah.
title. And so that's how it came to be, was just a brainstorming session with a mentor of mine on how to have a title that stands out without using um, language that puts people off.
I like that. I like that. So fear. I know that some people have the acronym of face everything and rise, or what is the other one? Face everything and rise, or forget
Forget
everything and run.
everything and run.
Yes.
Yeah, false
So
evidence appearing real. I hate
exactly.
them.
So why do you hate those acronyms?
So those acronyms don't, like, one, they don't tell you anything. They make you wrong, and in turn, they're creating more fear for people because they're like, "Oh, well, I'm wrong for feeling fear, but I have this feeling because feel like when you look at false fear is false evidence appearing real, it's saying that fear isn't real. And so if you're having this emotion, which fear is defined as a strong emotion, and our emotions are real, so if you're being told you're wrong, then you're like, well, what am I supposed to do with that? Like, how am I supposed to move forward? And that's creating more fear in your life. So I've created what I call the fear formula, which is an acronym for fear, but it gives you steps for overcoming and stepping through fear and using fear as a motivator and pushing you forward. And so it's forgive yourself for feeling fear. Everybody feels fear. Even me as an expert in fear, I feel it. Um, embrace your fear. It's your fear has one job, and it's to keep you safe. It doesn't know that it's holding you back from doing all of the amazing things that you want to do in your life. Choose action, step into your fear. Choosing not to do anything, as long as it comes from an empowered place and you recognize that you're not doing anything, that's action. And then repeat, because overcoming fear is a process. It's not a perfect practice. Fear doesn't just magically go away because you started overcoming it. But the more you step into it, the more you use it, the less it impacts your life. The relationship with your fear changes and evolves over time, and in turn the fear becomes less scary, but it doesn't go away.
Hmm. That's a wonderful perspective, man. That's a great way to look at fear. I mean, I was, yeah, when you first started saying, I'm kind of like, well, false evidence, could be, for instance, like you say, it's something outside that's fearful, but it's not that, a spider isn't that, it could bite us, it could not bite us, but like you said, it's probably not going to bite us. And embracing that fear, I'm scared of spiders. Spiders scare the heck
Mhm.
out of me. And but it's just like I said, I still have to walk past that spider every day, and he's probably not going to bite me if it's not, it can't eat me whole, but there's something inside
Right.
of me that kind of gives me a little bit of like, when I see spiders.
Mhm.
But I love that. I love the way you break down the acronym. That's a great perspective on fear, girl. That's amazing.
Yeah, it gives you like one, it gives you steps. It doesn't make you wrong, and it helps you move forward and choose to and like create empowered choices. I
Mm.
my so there's tangible and intangible fear. So a spider would be a tangible fear. Mine's birds. I hate birds. Like I walk in the opposite direction. And even though like I'm a proponent in creating a healthy relationship with fear, I'm also a proponent and not every fear needs to be overcome. Like if your fear isn't standing in the way of you creating your vision for your life or for the world, then it's okay not to step into it. Like my fear of birds or your fear of spiders isn't preventing you from creating the message that you want to create and changing the world the way you want to change the world. That and also if you're afraid of lions, don't go pet a lion because it's not going to turn out okay. Like it's just not.
I can dig it. I can dig it, man. Oh man, wow, that's mind blowing right there. That's a great way that you've reframed fear. And I mean, I know a lot of people can really get some benefit out of looking at fear in that manner. That's
Mhm.
amazing. So how did you start? How did you get started into speaking and coaching and doing what you're doing right now?
Yeah, so I came back from traveling the world and my whole career I had done things that were really challenging. And when I came back, I just wanted to do something that was easy. And so I started working with a friend of mine who's one of my biggest mentors in life. And I was running the behind the scenes of her coaching business. And watching her, I was like, this is what I want to be doing. Like, I want to be helping people get to the next level in their life. And so I was like, I'm launching a workshop. Like, out of nowhere, I was just like, I'm going to do a workshop. I don't know what it's going to be on, but I'm going to do a workshop. And so she was like, okay, let's sell a workshop. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. I can't sell a workshop that I don't know what it's going to be. And she's like, sure, you can. She's like, what are people going to get out of it? And I'm like, well, they're going to get this, this, and this. And she's like, cool, sell that. And I'm like, but I don't know how I'm going to create that yet. And she's like, it doesn't matter. And so I sold a workshop to ten women, and I had no idea what it was. And I went on a retreat called the Spark Women's Retreat, and I was in one of their workshops, and the woman leading the workshop said one thing at the beginning of the workshop, and I instantly knew what I was going to do because she said, courage can't be taught. And I have no idea what she said after that because I literally mapped out in my brain how to teach someone how to be courageous.
Mm.
And so I came back from that and I launched my first Tell Fear You're the Boss workshop. And I taught 10 women how to be courageous. And then everything else like went from there. It was that one comment that you can't teach people how to be courageous that launched a business for me on teaching people how to be courageous.
Mm,
And I'm now friends with that woman who led that workshop. And it is no longer a courage workshop, it is a confidence workshop. And she no
mm.
longer tells people that courage can't be taught.
Ah, look at that. Breaking through it. What are you talking about, lady? First thing we thought, I'll take that challenge.
Yeah, I don't know what she said after that. I was just like, this is how you teach someone how to be courageous.
Wow, wow. So run through me the acronym again. I need to. So you said
Yeah,
what's the F?
forgive,
Forgive, embrace,
embrace, act,
action, repeat.
repeat.
Oh
Hmm.
man, okay. I might get that tattooed on my arm, girl. That's a phenomenal acronym. I love that, man. So if
Yeah.
so, if you can go back to the 18-year-old Katie, what is some advice that you would give her?
Mm. Just follow your heart. When I was 18, I had my life planned out, and I was going to be an occupational therapist. Like I went to like I did all of my internships in high school. I chose the right college to be an occupational therapist, and then life happened. I didn't get into occupational therapy school, and I didn't know what I was doing with my life. I was like floundering. And if I had stuck to the guideline of follow your heart, I think there would have been a lot less pain and um, like um, what's the word I'm looking for? Like it wouldn't have been easier because life happens. Like, but there would have been more flow in my life. There would have been more alignment instead of trying to do all of these things that other people were telling me to do. Like try this or try that instead of just following my heart and doing what made me happy and what I wanted to be doing and trying new things and traveling to new places and just listening to my heart. So
Mm,
if I could go back and tell 18-year-old Katie one thing, it's just follow your heart, which is what I tell my nieces and nephews all the
follow your
time.
heart. Okay,
Follow your heart.
that's lovely. I think you cut out a little bit, but what were you saying? Your nieces and what were you saying about that?
Oh, so I'm not a parent, but I have a bunch of nieces and nephews. Auntie Katie is my favorite title. And that's what I tell them all the time is just follow your heart. And I feel like if I had followed my own advice at 18, life would look a little bit different than it
Mm,
does. I mean, life is great now, and I do follow my heart. But if 18-year-old Katie knew to follow her heart, there would have been a lot less heartache.
okay, I like that. I like that. Follow your heart. Yes, yes. So, what do you the heart is that? I know the Greeks say, like the Greeks have a, they have a different like a concept of heart where it is not necessarily here. It's kind of like
Mhm,
the mind is the heart, where the Greeks kind of assimilate that word to mind more than your heart beating.
mhm.
So, is that something that you give the heart to as well?
Um, I don't know. Like I look at it like like in terms of like passion and purpose. So like my coach defines purpose as the best of what you have to offer other people. And
Mm,
so and like passion plays into that because like what you're passionate about, what you're good at, like that's what you should strive to give more of to other people. And so whether that comes from here or here, I don't know. For me it comes from like it comes here. It's not an analytical, like thought out thing. It's just like I lead from my heart, or at least I my aim is to always lead from my heart and not from my head.
I like that. I like that. So personal development. What is your take on that? I know we've connected on some personal development out there. What are some tips that you would give for people that are looking into personal development?
Do it, invest in yourself.
Yes.
Um, Absolutely. I mean, you can only read so many books. Um, like I have a friend who said that he has a small daughter and he's like when she gets older I'm going to give her $10 for every personal development self-help books she reads. And I remember a facilitator of one of my personal development seminars, he said that at some point those self-help books become shelf-help books. And so they just sit on your shelf. And you've read all these books, but putting them to action is different. Like being in a room, in a seminar room, in an experiential way is completely different from reading a book. And so my recommendation would be to invest in yourself. I invest in personal development like I invested in school. I have a master's degree, and so I've invested a ton of money in my education, and I treat personal development the same way. I invest in myself, whether it's through coaching, it's through seminars, it's through books or online courses. Like I'm constantly putting that back into myself because that's how we grow. And I always tell my clients, like, I can't expect them to do hard things if I'm not willing to do hard things.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Lifelong learning. That's what it's about. I mean, it's crazy. I have some friends that gotten some went the whole distance with their degrees, and it's just like, boop, nope, no more learning. And I'm
Mhm.
like, bro, like, we're constantly acquiring new information that we need to be constantly growing at the same time, because
Mhm.
these experiences, you're still operating from 2010, 2011 mindset, but it's
Right.
2022, and that's
Mhm.
11 years that you haven't really grown. And for me, like going to the personal development, I was so in resistance to doing it. However, when I got there, I'm like, whoa, like this is incredible, to be around this many people and to see that we're all in the same boat, in the sense that, some people are here, some people are here, but we're all in the same boat of trying to get somewhere, trying to be something more than where we are. And you'll be
Yeah.
surprised at how many people that are here in one way are way down here in another ways. And it's so
Mhm.
like mind-boggling to me that we just look at people and we just put these labels on them, or think that they're superior in so many ways, but they also have their inferiorities as well. And for me, going through personal development, it makes me feel so much more human and so much more connected with my brothers and sisters, rather than just looking at people and saying, hey, that guy is just super successful, he doesn't have any problems, or that person has problems and they'll never be successful. It's like
Yeah.
everyone's trying to get somewhere. Most people are trying to get somewhere, and I think it's our job to for one, be of service to that, and for two, to just stay focused and get to where we want to go to as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you had mentioned like the 2010 mentality versus the 2022 mentality. Like technology is changing every day and evolving every day. Like shouldn't we also be evolving and changing like with the way the world is changing instead of excuse me, being stuck in that same mindset that we've had for life? Like um if we're not in growth, we're decaying.
Exactly. Yeah, I love that quote. Oh, yeah, I love that quote. If you're not growing, you're dying. If you're not, if you're either in growth or decay. And
Yeah.
sometimes even just looking at a tree, like we can't see the tree growing, but you look back 5 years, you're like, damn, that seed then turned into a whole tree. But I couldn't
Right.
see it every day. I couldn't see its day-to-day growth. However, that's the same thing with us. It's like we can't see that day-to-day growth or that day-to-day deterioration. But you look back in
Mhm.
5 years and you're like, whoa, things have either blossomed or they died. And the good thing about humans is we can start to plant some seeds again and get back growing. Some things are inanimate and they can't. I mean, they're in decay. But as human
Yeah.
beings, I feel like we have that ability to plant those seeds any day that we want to and get you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, ma'am. So what are the biggest challenges you're facing right now, and how are you overcoming them?
I think for me it's been a couple of things. Like right before COVID started, I had shifted my business to being in-person events, and then COVID happened, and so I really had to like figure out what that looked like because it was either my business is going to fail, or I'm going to figure it out and we're going to come up with something that's not just in-person events. And so I expanded my coaching. And then um more recently, I had one of my last coaching clients, their contract was up, and so I shifted to going back to only in-person events. And so that transition has been a little different. So transition has been kind of challenging for me the last couple of years, and transitioning my business to being exactly what I want. So there were a few months, like, financially, that were, like, really scary because I was trying to figure out how to create a speaking business and focus 100% there, and to kind of put the coaching a little to the side. So the learning curve and the transition has been a challenge, and just getting the right people on my side and enrolling the right support has been critical and has been really important in helping make those transitions easier.
Mm, I like that. I like that. So you're doing a lot. You say you're doing more in person stuff now with the restrictions being lifted in Nevada. I mean, you guys are a little bit
Yes.
more open out there, so that's pretty awesome.
That's the goal, but, like, with COVID, it's so hard. So, like, I am doing coaching still. I ended up in December deciding that because of everything that's happening with the world and with COVID, like, it's so up in the air that, like, and I love coaching, so, like, I decided to add that back in, and so, like, I'm doing both. I'm doing coaching and I'm doing speaking, and it's just whatever comes my way, whatever feels right, that's what I'm doing. And right now, like, doing coaching and pursuing in-person speaking engagements is what feels right.
Nice, nice. That's
Mhm.
lovely. So when you talk about speaking, do you have like do you have or are you more off the cusp, or do you have like a set speech that you give every single time?
I think it depends on the event. In terms of set speech, no. So I belong to a Toastmasters club, and so I never use notes. I have, like, a little outline, and then I just go off of my outline to do my speech. So never is one keynote the same as the last one. It might
Mm,
have similar points, but it's kind of like, I'll use this example. Like, we've both been to the PSI Basic seminar. Like, every instructor and facilitator, the material and the content is the same, but the way it's delivered is different every time. Even if it's the same, like, staffed with Cortland twice last year in a row, and both times it was completely different than the last time because he uses different stories, different anecdotes, and so that's how my keynotes are too. Like, I have the same like underlying message, but the stories that I tell and the way I tell it is a little different each time.
mm. That's lovely. That's lovely. Yeah, Cortland is the man. I love that guy.
Gotta love Cortland.
Yeah. So what's the biggest lesson that you've learned in life thus far?
The biggest lesson that I've learned so far in life is that I am the only person that I can control in any situation. I spent a lot of my life, like, trying to change people and thinking that relationships would be different if um specifically with my dad. Like, I did not have a very good relationship with my dad. Every time I've stepped into a personal development room, my goal was to fix the relationship with my dad, and it never happened because my mentality was that he needed to change, that something was wrong with him, and that if he were to change, then the relationship would be better and the relationship would be different, when in reality, the only person I have control of is myself. And so if I show up differently in the relationship, then the relationship is different. And
Mm.
so since like that clicked, I've showed up differently in the relationship with my dad. And for the last year and a half, we've had an amazing relationship. And
Wow.
I've been able to like go to him for support, and we talk all the time. And so all of like the relationships in my life are different because I show up differently, not
Mm.
because I expect other people to change. So that's probably been the biggest lesson I've ever learned in my life. And not that I have regrets, but I wish I had learned that lesson sooner, because it would have saved me a lot of years of disliking my dad. And he's pretty awesome.
Wow, that's amazing. So you can only control yourself. That's an amazing lesson. That's an amazing lesson.
Mhm.
That's some people never learn it. You know what I mean? So that's
Yeah.
wherever you are in your journey right now. It's you've learned it, and now you got another umpteen, 50 years to go with that knowledge. And as you have children or your nieces and nephews, now look, that's information that you can impart to them as well, which is amazing. And that's what I think one of the best parts of the journey is that as we build our puzzle, then we can help others. We can impart those pieces onto our the people that are coming up under us, or the people who want to learn from us, and give them that information as well. So that's an amazing lesson that you learned there. I
Yeah,
like that. I like that.
absolutely.
So how are you looking to impact the world with the things that you do, Katie?
My vision for my life is to create a world of empowered people who are making choices out of passion and purpose, as opposed to making choices out of fear or obligation, or what society or family is telling them that they should be doing. I, like you had mentioned, like talk like telling future generations, like my nieces and nephews, or um that like these lessons, like imparting these lessons on them. I believe that children learn from modeled behavior. You can tell them all day long things, but if they like, you could tell a daughter or my niece like all day long that she's beautiful. But if she watches me tell myself that I'm ugly or not important or all of those negative things, that's what she's going to start believing about herself, because this role model in her life is modeling those negative behaviors. And so my
Mm.
goal is to create a world of empowered people who are leading by example, who are modeling empowered behaviors, who are making empowered choices, not living in fear, so that future generations know that they can do whatever sets their heart on fire, whatever their passion is, they can follow it, and they can create whatever life they desire despite what the world is telling them. They know that they can do it.
Mm. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I love that. I love that. I love that mindset. Now, that's what I always tell my parents is that it's like that's the ultimate opportunity of leadership, because you are
Mhm.
leading this young person, and the things you might say, they go into their ear, but the things that they watch, how can you tell your child that they could be anything they want to be when you settle for mediocrity? You dig? It's like
Exactly.
It's like, come on now, that you can tell them all day, but you got to show them and keep striving to your own greatness, because that's going to leave the legacy within them more than you telling them that you can be great. Is you going out there and being great your damn self, and imparting that
Mhm.
belief on them in the physical flesh. You dig? So I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up with my parents telling me that I could do anything I wanted to my whole life. But I knew that my dad wanted to be an author, but his parents told him he could be a lawyer, a doctor, or an accountant. And so he became a lawyer and was totally unhappy, like in that career. And like my mom wanted to sing, like she wanted to be an opera singer, and she
Mm.
loves her career in HR and like loved working with people, and still is now a career coach. But like it it wasn't the career path she thought she would be on in her life. And so even though they told me I could do anything I wanted to do in my life, I saw them not being able to do that.
Oh
And
yeah.
so for a long time I settled in my career. Like I was a corporate event planner and I love events, but like as a career, I like to do it for fun. But I was a corporate event planner for 10 years. Like that wasn't my passion or my purpose.
Yeah, I can dig that, man. That's amazing. It was like I said, it's a disconnect. You know, if you're telling
Yeah.
somebody something that you really don't, you believe it, but you're not being it. So it's
Mhm.
tough. There is a disconnect, and I
Yeah.
totally agree with that. That's an amazing piece of information that you left with my listeners as well. So, Miss
Yeah.
Katie, what does prosperity mean to you?
I kind of equate prosperity to abundance.
Okay.
And so, an abundant mindset, like I'm attracting good things. I'm attracting wealth, I'm attracting health, I'm attracting um, all these amazing things in my life. And with that comes prosperity and alignment. And when you're aligned and you believe and you're certain, then the prosperity and the success come with that.
Mm.
But I think an abundant mindset is also a prosperous mindset.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We live in a world, we live in an abundant universe, man. And it's prosperity out here for each and every one of us. I agree with
Yes,
that.
absolutely.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So the last question up. So as a youngster, said 10, 11 years old, what was Katie's favorite cereal and cartoons on Saturday morning?
Well, Katie was not a cereal
What?
eater, but I
Gee.
loved me but I loved me some strawberry Pop-Tarts.
Okay. Oh, what? Oh, those were phenomenal. I'm still a strawberry Pop Tart guy. Hello.
Yeah, not a huge cereal person, still not a
Okay.
huge cereal person today,
Have
but
you ever had the Pop Tart cereal though?
I have not had Pop-Tart cereal,
Oh, girl,
but
yeah.
I
I don't know if
loved
they still
strawberry
make it, but
Pop-Tarts.
strawberry Pop Tart cereal was. Well, I don't know if it's still around. I know it was probably full of sugar, but I loved it. It was phenomenal. I think they still have it at like Big Lots and
Mm,
stuff like that. But it was a great cereal. But okay, so you got your
interesting.
you got your
Yeah,
Pop Tart
I got my
fresh out the
Pop-Tarts.
toaster. And
Yep,
then now, what cartoon were you
and,
watching?
well, I wasn't really watching cartoons. I was watching TV that was probably much too mature um for me. I like growing up, I would watch soap operas with my mom.
Mm.
And so that's what we would do. I mean, I watched like I know all of the cartoons. I've seen like I'm a 90s kid. So like I know like Rugrats, Hey Arnold, like I've seen them. But like I didn't like religiously watch them. Like I didn't religiously watch them. I watched soap operas religiously with my mom and learned a lot of things before I should have learned them. But that's
So what was the top soap opera that you really loved when you were a child?
I don't know if I really loved them. I think it was just like watching them with my mom. Like I think that's what it was more about was like sitting there and watching it with my mom. Like she had the whole lineup. Like it would be like uh I think Bold and the Beautiful, Young and the Restless, As the World Turns, which I don't even think exists anymore, and General Hospital, which she still watches to this day.
General Hospital. Yeah, my mom was a big fan of that General Hospital. That's when I used to come home from school. I'm like, Mom, get up. But yeah, I mean, she loved it, and I mean that General Hospital was a really good one for the ladies of the 80s and 90s.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I go
Yes,
home to Chicago and I'm like, wait, these people still exist? I'm like, what are they doing now?
oh yeah, he's living off those residuals. That's what they're doing. They should, because the people are
Yeah.
still watching them. They're still on Hulu. Sometimes it pops up on my Hulu. My lady's like, "What you watching soap operas?" I'm like, "No, I think that's actually your mom because we're on her account." But it's still
Yes.
there. But I might sneak
Yeah.
off and watch it because there was some good drama on them things. Man, they had some good drama, some horrible
Yeah.
acting, but it was some good drama.
Yes. I remember learning like really interesting things. So like my my dad like was in a was in like a behavioral health hospital when I was like 11. He had tried to take his own life. And so I remember sitting in a room with all of us in a circle. I was probably like 10, like somewhere between 8 and 11. And we're sitting in the circle with the therapist and my dad. And I'm just looking around and I'm like, is this an intervention? And the therapist was like, how do you know that word? Like he didn't even want me there because he's like, she's too little to be here. And my mom was like, no, she's mature enough to handle this. And then I was like, is this an intervention? And the therapist was like, okay, you really do like are mature enough to be here. But like, I'm pretty sure I learned that word from watching soap operas.
Hilarious, man. Well, hilarious. Well, thank you for being on our show today, Katie.
Yes.
Where can my High Vibe tribe find you online?
Yeah, so they can find me. I have my website, katiedraznin.com or thejourneywithin.com. I'm also on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook under Katie Draznin. And you can find Katie's Courage Couch on Facebook.
Okay, sweet. So you guys heard her, man. Tap in. Katie's Courage Couch. I know it's going to be lit, teaching you guys how to be courageous. And this was a phenomenal interview. I appreciate your time. And like I said, you guys keep going and keep growing. Let's get it, y'all.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We'll definitely be in touch soon. And like I said, we'll have all our links at the end of the show as well. But love you guys. Thank you guys for tapping in, and hope you guys are having a wonderful week and a wonderful year. All right, Miss Katie, I'll talk to you later.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
Prosper. Hey, hey, hey. Prosper. Hey, hey, hey. Prosper. We need to do better for our sons and our daughters. Spock said it best.